As we close down the content finder, there we go. That will slide back to the place it should be. And notice I just misspelled overview there. So again, I can just go into that edit only mode and make that change to that. So that's going to work there. So we've got our video in there. Now we're going to go down and add in our text for this next container. So I'm going to go over here and let's copy that over. I think for this one, I'm going to just drop that into Notepad just so that we strip out all any kind of formatting that might be on there. We'll do that again on some of these other texts because it looks like there's some awkward formatting that's copied over when we did that last time. So let's go ahead and drop that in from Notepad. We'll come back and make the formatting changes to that in just a moment. And then we have our CTA. And over here we have a CTA as well. So let's see how this is configured. So here's the CTA. We can do all kinds of things in here. And I would say a couple things here. If any of these you wanted to make, like for instance here, you want to make a change to that or note, make an annotation for a reviewer, you can click on annotate and I could add in a note here and say, what do you think about the CTA or this new configuration or whatever it might be? And they'll be able to see that, and that's not going to go public. But let's edit the CTA and see what they have here. So there's a number of options that are in the CTA dialog, and there's additional information on the CMS Online Help Guide. So we've got our text. We have the link that this is going to go to as well. We have a styling that we can choose from, and then there's a class added here to take the full width or none. We have an alignment, accessibility text, some link tracking. There's a number of options here. There are modal options as well. If this was a modal and a content path that we wanted to point to or add to cart. So these are a little bit more advanced for beginning users, so we're not going to go through that, but there is information available on the CMS Online Help Guide for that. So this is just going through and taking a general look at what's available to us here, adding the name, adding the link. Do we want to open it in a new window? What color do we want this to be? Adding a class, how does it align? Accessibility text, and then link tracking. So let's go on to our page and make some of those changes on our CTA. So we're going to click the edit on the CTA. We know what our text is going to be. We don't want to open this in a new window. We do want to center this. We are going to make this full width, and we'll leave it as primary as the color. And we can just copy our CTA text down into our accessibility text. And PTG has Site Catalyst link tracking set up, and that is something that you could do as well. You'll definitely want to talk to your manager or your team and get those additional options understood. So let's go ahead and click OK and see what this looks like. Okay, so this is orange, and the other one, and the PTG is this blue, and they are set up the same as the primary, but PTG has a couple of different unique styling attributes added to it, so that might explain a little bit of the discrepancy. I think secondary gets it at least closer to blue, but again, the purpose of this is not to go through and absolutely replicate the site. It's really just to use, or that page, it's really just to use some of the tools that are available to start to get familiar with making edits to your page. Now, I've got quite a bit invested in this page at this point, so I think I'm going to make a version of this page. So we're going to go to our version tab, which is the fourth over from the right. I'm going to click more, and I'm going to add a label to this. And a comment as well. That's just for me to know where I was at when I was going through and making these edits. So I'm going to just go ahead and click Create a Version. AM is going to let me know that that version has been created. And I could go back down here and take a look at this, and I can see the label there. And if I mouse over, I can see nested grid. So that's going to tell me all the way down to this nested grid. And again, you may have a different way to do it, or your team may have a different way to note their versions. But again, it's a good idea and a good practice to go ahead and create some versions incrementally.